All right. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Huh, okay, there we go. All right, so this is my first. Okay. So I did a recipe for Community Bank, which is my bank of more than a dozen years. Go away. Darcy is my cat advisor, and she likes to weigh in when I go live. It never fails. She'll probably start jumping up here in a second. Okay, so my first conversational marketing recipe is for Community Bank of Fitzgerald, which I have done previously. Whoops. Let's do full screen. And so here, so that I'm not reinventing the wheel, take a peek at, why they were chosen as my initial, recipe. Because they're not really my target for the most part, because they're well over 10 employees or 10 person organization. So, but I have such a long history with them, and their digital marketing is, I guess looking backward in a lot of ways, in my mind. And we'll walk through it. So, okay, so I laid it out there. Now let's get moving. Okay, so this is my first recipe. Let's walk through the digital status quo to begin with. And I start the status quo, the foundation of it, with the website, right? So they have a marketing website. They have great branding. They have really good branding locally in real life. They're pushing, it seems, buying a home, so mortgage loans, right? Just based on, if you land on the homepage, that's the first thing you see. And that's really the only thing that you see. And then not a lot of depth, as you can see, quote unquote, poor. Not a lot of depth, though, as far as there's no reason on this website for people to come. Any of the pages that are on there linked, some of them actually 404. There's only a couple. I mean, this isn't a bash session or anything by any means. I like it. The thing is, it's just very shallow content. So if you go to one of those pages, and that's just a screenshot, so I can't click through or anything, even though I've done it before anyway. So there's not a lot of content there, so there's not a lot of rationale or reason or bait, if you will, for people to actually go to this website on a regular basis. I've been going there because I've been doing this recipe. But, for everybody else, I mean, there's just not a reason. Like if you go and try and do a resources thing and you try and order checks at 404s, and I need a check, so that's how I found out about that. I still haven't ordered the checks either. But it just, looking at the website and then running this report, it made sense to me because there's just not reason yet, even though the brand is long established in the community. Fitzgerald, Georgia, Community Bank of Fitzgerald, been here for decades upon decades. I mean, I'm not even sure when it was founded, but it's been a while. Like, my grandparents banked there for decades upon decades upon decades. And after them, I've already banked there well over a decade. So, it really firm roots, but you can't tell digitally. And that's because, we'll get to that in a second. So, digital reputation, good. Now, you'll notice this is their Facebook page. They have 43 reviews, including 34 of them as 5 stars. So that's good. And then, I found out about that by running this report. I saw the Google one, which was a 1-star rating, right? So there's definitely some opportunity there. Now, as far as, and this is all kind of tied together, digital citations and the local search engine optimization for a bank, contextually, when someone opens their phone or, laptop, desktop, whatever, and they are in Fitzgerald or Osceola or right around this area, and they type in bank, then Community Bank should be at the top. That's the goal, right? Well, part of how that happens is what's called as, your NAP, name, address, and phone number. They are that's a large part of what comprises what's called a citation or a business listing. And as you can see here, there are different ones that are not listed at all, but the ones that are listed are for the most part good. There are some issues as far as just getting some of because it has to be an exact, literally to the character exact thing. If you have West Cyprus is where I'm at. So if it's W period, it needs to be W period everywhere. If you spell it out as West Cyprus, you have to, it has to be that exact same way in every single instance, or Google will count it as two separate entities, and that hurts. That hurts the corporate, the brand basically, right? So Google My Business rank, that's what I was talking about as far as, this is kind of the fruition. If I type bank, if you see at the top left, in location Fitzgerald, Georgia, type the keyword bank, number 6 is Community Bank of Fitzgerald. That's not reality. Like, they're the one that is the most, homegrown, I guess is the best way to put it. Colony Bank is probably their biggest competitor in my mind. And, they don't even have a verified account, but they're still showing up 2 spots ahead of Community Bank. So definitely a lot of opportunity here. They don't really have reason for people to be linking to their root domain, and they don't have with that happening, that's hurting their rank here. And then at the same time, you have the the Google review is just a single 1-star rating. So they definitely need to do something towards that, fix that. So, okay, recipe phase 1. That's the status quo. Just kind of a quick run through of just me taking a look at it from outside. Obviously, this is all public domain type stuff. I'm just nothing was it's just all third-party research, I guess is the best way to put it. All right, so number 1 is foundation. This is the recipe. This is what I would do, and I'm explaining, this is what I would do. This is why I would do that specifically. And then this is how you can do that yourself, DIY, do that yourself. So for each of the different pieces of the recipe. All right, so let me just get into it. Foundation, that's where we start. We start with the website again, right? Okay, what I would do is I would replace the current marketing website with a WooCommerce store experience, and I would use Liquid Web managed WooCommerce hosting. And it's not even, the easiest decision possible. And I'm sure, I would guess, it's very possible that the current marketing site, is on their own servers, like in-house or something. I don't know. I have no clue. Like I said, third party. But it's heavily controlled. And what I think they should do is trust Liquid Web, and because that's what I would do. I would have WooCommerce through Liquid Web set up, and what that gives them, it gives them the ability to conduct online commerce with their customers through their website. And here's the key. It also gives them super fast speed, and it's an experience, a shopping experience that they're offering, a store, and the experience that offers to their customers, because now their customers can buy stuff and, have stuff shipped or do, set up video appointments or, whatever the case needs to happen. That all comes from that main marketing website, right? All right, I lost my train of thought. So let me get back to this. I know it was all tied together, but I lost it. I got to put something over that door so that I don't get distracted. All right. I would replace the store. Part of the experience, part of why I would choose the managed WooCommerce hosting by Liquid Web, well, there's a bunch of reasons. And let me lay them out real quick on video. Actually, let me do this. Okay, so Here's why I would use Liquid Web Managed WooCommerce hosting. Chris Lemma is the VP of product over there, and him and his team have put together this product offering. And they're continuing to iterate it. And I know the people I've met, I mean, I don't know them well or anything, but I've met the people behind it, the developers, the engineers, the minds, the people in the minds and their collective focus that Liquid Web, and through Chris Lemma, is exerting on this problem of, I want to run a WooCommerce store, and I want it to load really, 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 really fast, regardless of where they are in the world. Full stop. And then on top of that, though, and they have this whole cluster thing that he can just completely put you to sleep by explaining to you for a while. But it's definitely, it's prepared for any kind of traffic, and it's just going to be lightning fast is the idea. All they care about is when your customer shows up on that website, excuse me, immediately they get exactly what they're looking for. Instantaneously, under 2, and he's got a ton of statistics. I should have had a video queued up so that with some of his statistics that he's laid out before some of the videos. But there is there's the speed, but then there's also, and there's the security. I mean, it's your store, it's your online commerce. I mean, just it has to be secure for your customers, right? And then on top of that, for me, the bigger thing was starting to understand about Jilt and Glue, GLEW.io. GLEW.io, it does, so from a store context, if you have a bunch of customers for your online store, Glue actually helps you segment them, and it provides a ton of additional understanding about your actual store customers just based on their interactions with your WooCommerce store and your WordPress website and so on and so forth. So it's really, really good stuff. And they have an agreement where that's included. When you host with your WooCommerce store through their managed WooCommerce hosting, you're paying $250 a month. And part of that is you get Glue included and you get Jilt for your cart abandonment included as well. And so, those two plus the speed, I mean, what else do you need? But then on top of that, you have the most helpful humans in hosting. And I know I sound totally like a commercial, and this isn't an affiliate link, or this is just, if you're gonna do online commerce, hosting and speed for your store, it's a big determinant at the beginning. You got to have a great product, don't get me wrong, and you got to fulfill what people order and do it how you're supposed to and so forth. But speed with your online store is just so crucial to success. If you don't have that, you are putting yourself behind the 8 ball. And that's one reason I never really messed with e-com for so many years, was the fear of the hosting with the speed and so forth, in knowing that you're able to use Liquid Web, you're only paying them $250, or I mean, if you're over $100,000 a year for your store, you're going to pay over $250 a month. I mean, and it goes up, and but it's only, you make more money, you pay a little bit more, but I mean, it's all profit. And it is just a much better experience because of the team that Chris has put together and is continuing to add to and grow and train and so forth. So, yeah, I mean, I'm super bullish, so to speak, on that. If you're going to do, and with us, with this bank, they've been with the community forever. So the Fitzgerald High School football team is really big around here, and they have, every year on all the home games, they're outside giving away sausage dogs, I believe it was. It's been a long time since I've been over there. Although I live, basically, a good 7-iron, I guess, from right outside my door here. I'd be able to hit a pretty good 6-iron probably. right into the middle of the football field, no problem. So, anyway, the golf thing. But they have routes. They have a lot of different things that they could actually sell, that they could help people in the community sell through this WooCommerce shop. And there's a lot of different opportunities that they can do to, just extend their root structure that is so good in real life into a lot of different digital pieces as well. That's what kind of where my goal with this is, with this recipe. So back to it. Hopefully I'm going to go through some of these. So I've done, okay, why did I do that? Site speed is crucial, whatever it takes for them to load in under 2 seconds each and every time. The current online banking customer experience for Community Bank isn't bad, but it could probably, and I really believe it could definitely benefit from consolidation. Because, I want to go, it could definitely. And if you have questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. So how would you do this yourself? Well, you sign up for their 14-day speed trial, which is it's a free speed trial. And in this instance, they wouldn't have a store to start with. But what they would be able to do is to create a store on this test server, that Liquid Web would put together, and they would go through and just optimize everything so that it's going to load as fast as possible. And they'll let you go through and test it. And if you find a page that's not loading, they have multiple people that's all that they really, well, not all they do, but that's their specialty is, servers, optimizing the code, the speed, all the different pieces for a fast user experience. So, then, do that, kick the tires. They'll show you, like, go to gtmetrics.com with an X, metrics, METRIX. I'll put a link somewhere. The point is, you can compare the two, so they can compare this Liquid Web server that they're showing them how fast it could be with them and against their current marketing site. And see how do they stack up, and understanding that the current marketing site doesn't have an entire shopping cart and e-commerce experience built in, and it doesn't offer Jilt, and it does, you know what I mean? So, I should have put a screenshot here. All right, digital reputation. So what I would do is I would boil it down. You need to start a customer feedback loop. That one Google review for 1 star, they need to pile some good reviews on top of that. And the way that they're going to do that isn't by just people saying, hey, I want to go to Google and review my local bank. What they're going to have to do is ask people repeatedly to, tell them how they're doing, and the ones that say good things, give them an opportunity, really convenient. Here's a link if you want, to tell people publicly, here's links to all our profiles. Pick whichever one you like best, and clicking that link is going to make it super easy. That's how you actually, get something to happen. And that should just be a routinized process, so to speak. Because that's how, one way that just is proactively managing their online, their digital reputation. So, all right. Why? Because, and this is specifically why would I use get5stars.com, and that's because they're an industry leader for reputation management software for more than 6 years now that I know of. And I met the dude behind it, Don Campbell, at, what was it? The only marketing SEO conference I ever went to, Blue Glass down in Tampa. So, and that's when I first found out about it and started using it, and then went away from it for a while, and now I'm back. And Mike Blumenthal, who was the co-founder with Don, he's been long considered the godfather, I think it's the godfather of local search, or Google, or, he understands, and I had what was it, a 10-week training with him on local SEO. This was like in 2013, I guess. But just super smart. And completely understands it. And he's been living it, eating, breathing, and sleeping it, Google and local SEO, local search engine optimization. And why does Google care about, why does Google rank these, brands when you go and search natively within, Google Maps and within, you know what I mean? Like, he just understands all those pieces. So that's why. And, you go sign up, you give them the information for each location. You'll want images if you have them. You'll want, a headline and then a short description and then a longer description. You'll see the different pieces that you'll want to bring in. And then, but you only have to put it in once and keep it maintained in that one spot. And then they make sure that that is spread everywhere for you. And, well, actually, yeah, that was something else. You fill out the information and, they're going to be able to, you're going to set up the emails for the different locations. And the emails are saying, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your experience with us? And, they click on 1 through 10 and it takes them to a page that logs the 1 through 10, whatever they chose, gives them a text area that says, hey, if do you want to kind of put some words with that, so to speak, right? And then from there, as long as they gave a 9 or a 10, they're going to be given an option or an invitation, I guess, to share it with everybody. As far as, here's Yelp and Facebook and Foursquare and so forth. Whichever one you prefer, click it and it'll make it easy for you to, tell people publicly about your experience with Community Bank. So. Oh yeah, and then, you gotta activate the system once you have it and you've tested it to where the emails they look how you want, they say what you want, etc., and it all works the way that you want it. Then you activate it, and then from there, you just add your customer emails. You can start with the ones that you already have, and then over, every quarter or every month or whatever you want to do, then you would just go and, add the new ones that are going to be contacted. And you can also recontact different ones that maybe they haven't replied or so forth. So a lot of different options there. All right. So digital citations and local search engine optimization. I would go to Citation Burst, which is by brightlocal.com and which is a UK company. And, I pay $1,000 for 500 profile submissions, and I'd go through and clean up everything that was there for Community Bank. And I would add the top ones that Citation Burst say would be the most important, and get all those submitted and get them verified and get them, checked that they were actually remained correct, so to speak. So why would I do that? Bright Local, another longtime leader in their industry. I ran into them when they first made the pivot to, they were an SEO agency and they decided to, go into the tools and so forth that you see today when you go to brightlocal.com. And here's the thing. They have a process in place of profile, citation, submissions, and verification, which is based on years of ongoing iteration and improvement. So they've been doing this for years for thousands of people. That's the point, right? So why not benefit from that, even though, you're here in Fitzgerald? All right, so how do you DIY it? Well, you go buy those, and then you fill in your business information and upload your images and so forth, and then you spend those 500 profile submissions on what you want to spend it on. If it's your information being updated or if it's new profiles being created and verified. And here's the big thing at the bottom, just for, not worry. They don't expire until you use them. So you don't have to I wouldn't use 500 that day. I mean, no, you wouldn't. But you could probably roll through a bunch of them, getting stuff cleaned up and adding additional stuff. All right, what about Google My Business rank? What I would do is, first and foremost, you have to recognize that setting up that customer feedback loop and doing the citation burst actions, they both are going to help the Google My Business rank moving forward. Like, they're going to start to play out. What would I do in addition to that, though? I would work on link building in addition to that. And I would go to Point Blank SEO for their link building services and do my best to get them to work with me. They're not going to work with everyone. John Cooper and his team, he's got like 15 people that they're down in Gainesville, Florida. That's why I would use them. Another dude that I met, I believe at least I learned about him back in December of 2012 at that around that marketing conference, Blue Glass Experience. So, all right. Yeah, and if you can get him to get you to work together, one thing that I would do, here's how I would do it. So if you go to the URL I mentioned here, Link Building Services, and you'll at the bottom on the left of that, as you scroll down, you'll see somewhere, but take a few minutes of his time, and I would do that, and I would say, hey, John, over time, it's an investment in the infrastructure of Community Bank as far as the digital component of that brand and its entire, portfolio, its, all of its assets. Exactly. Because the archive of all this media, etc., those are an appreciating asset in a lot of cases. Not all the time, don't get me wrong. But even still, it holds much more, holds its value much more so than if you go and you pay for an ad in the local paper or, in a trade publication or, whatever. So, all right. So remember, we did the foundation there. So I'm going to let you take a quick breather and, now we're going to go into media. This is the biggie for them. What I would do is, if you remember when I ran the reports at the very start of the whole status quo part, they had what I felt was a very thin content layer, so to speak. Like, they didn't have any media. And so what I would do, let me begin at the beginning. The first thing for this plan to work, this recipe to work for Community Bank, if you're the president, CEO watching this, hi. But for it to work, you have to accept something as gospel, which is that in 2018, as a brand, as a local business, you're a media company. Whether you admit it and accept it and embrace it or not. I'll let that sink in for a second. Understanding that okay, we need to create, like Johnson & Johnson did back in the day with the soap operas, right? They did that to sell because they knew that their target market now had a TV in front of them and needed content, needed media. Well, today, your target, even in Fitzgerald, which is, not the most, Silicon Valley it ain't, let's put it that way. So, even here, everybody's online. They all need that content, and the way that I would do it, they're already doing a lot of good stuff with their branding. So, for instance, down by the McDonald's, there's and I meant to get a picture of this. There's a billboard by them, and it's basically, they call it the Junior Board of Directors, and it's different people that work there. It's their kids, right? And it's cute, and then every time that anyone drives by the football field, I believe there's stuff branding over there, permanent. But I know on game days there's right in the center of everything, like literally in between the main gates for the home team, there's Community Bank with sausage dogs and this big old cooker and it's freaking genius, to be honest with you. Like, it's content marketing way back in the day in my mind. Like, that's just, and so that's why having a CBC media approach, saying, okay, there, even if it's just a department, so to speak, and they start building out because they don't have to do everything in-house, they can bring people in, and I'll get into that in a second. So Ben Hill and surrounding Georgia counties is what they're focused on, right? So Irwin County, etc., Coffee County, whatever. Continue the current branding efforts. Exhibit the authoritative institutional knowledge. Because they have people that know banking and business and so forth, and Fitzgerald specifically, right? They know if they've been there for years upon decades in a lot of cases. Like, so the knowledge is there. They have to let more people find out about the knowledge and kind of bask in that knowledge, so to speak. And that's where the media comes in. So, in my recipe. So, genuine quality-owned media is a brand asset. This is why I would do that strategy of turning them into their own media company, which can appreciate in value over time. That brand asset, that owned media, they have something that just knocks it out of the park. It doesn't have to go viral. Like, I'm not talking about viral and the entire world knows about Community Bank based off of this one 90-second video or something. What I'm talking about is if they have questions that their customers want to have answered and they have an easy way for them to consume that answer in whatever media format they prefer, that is going to continue to, like, if it's important at this, in 2018, it's going to be important likely in, 2025 and, so forth, right? And understanding, obviously, things iterate and change, but, okay, so how do you do that for yourself? Well, like I said, accept that in 2018, every brand is its own media company, period, full stop. Moment of silence. So, start adding media-related skills to the team and in concert with third-party media providers that your brand partners with. That's how I would approach it for them. It's kind of like, the movies. How do movies get made, right? Well, in the old days, right, Hollywood, a showrunner, in a lot of cases, executive producer, one of the executive producers, pulls together a team, basically, gets funding, pulls together a team of, writers and grips and whatever, I don't know all the different terminology, but they put all the pieces together for however long it took to get the movie shot and get it edited and get it promoted and get it, you know what I mean? Like, all the way through. That's how I would approach it for, CBC Media, is they're the ones that, the president CEO drives the strategy as far as of CBC Media and the different shows that show up on that quote-unquote channel, because I would consider it a channel. And then, they could have some stuff by their sales department or, for mortgages and other stuff around, online banking for, non-digital natives, because there's a lot of those around here, etc. So, just the more personable that the digital experience is, the better. And that is really, in my mind, to community banks benefit because they're so good at that already in real life at their main location as well as their downtown drive-through branch. So, all right, media creation. Here's how I would do it. And so I went to audienceops.com. Brian Castle was the dude behind it. So we'll get into why in a minute. But what I do is I go and pay them, if I was Community Bank, the president CEO, I would pay them $11,400 for a quarter. And I'd come back and do the same thing the next quarter. But what that would get would be one professional article, like 1,500 words, that is for the specific audience, for a specific goal, by a team that's been doing this for people for years and years. They've improved the system. They've improved the people, that are working within the system, and it just keeps getting better. And Brian and his team, I can't say enough good things about him. So put it this way, Jason Hobbs Digital, as soon as it's in the budget, I will be doing this for me. I guarantee you. I promise you that. Because he has the editors, the video editors, the audio editors, the show talent when you need it. It's just, he can do whatever you need. It's specific to media creation. So by going through him, and he makes it really easy because they're used to not being in the same city as all their customers for AudienceOps.com. So they're able to very easily, take the institutional knowledge, record it, and via video, and use that to create an audio podcast and as well as a video for their YouTube channel. And you're getting those every week for the $3,800. You have other options. Don't get me wrong. Go check it out. You don't have to pay $3,800 a month, but you will get one per week of an article, a podcast episode, and a video episode. And to me, if Community Bank is becoming their own media company, that's the bare minimum. Bare minimum. Bare minimum. It's just in my view. All right. So here's I took screenshots of the pricing pages over on Audience Ops. One thing that I did want to point out is, so for instance, we were talking about the articles, right? Well, one of the things that they do the first month as they're researching the articles and laying out the larger strategy and so forth, is they put together what's called a lead magnet. And all that you want to put that in, behind a paywall or anything, or ask